going on, everybody? This is Dave from Post Rock Promo. I'm here with the Wolf. Howls, when I've screamed your name from Cheshire, England. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, good, man. Yourself?
Doing good, man. Thanks for asking. Let's jump right into it. So, when and how did you guys form?
I've been thinking about how I'm going to answer this. I was in another band for a while called Plastic, and I started this as like I wouldn't say a side project, but I started it as a solo project. You know, I was listening to stuff like Julian Baker, Phoebe Bridges. I wanted to just do like a really sad project instead, because my other band was really aggressive sounding. You can't be angry all the time. But me and Sam had been friends for a couple of years, and I wrote a couple of songs and said to, what did I do? Did I ask you to play on those first two songs, or?
I played on Slow Burn, the first one, and then it was about 6 or 7 months after that it was, well, probably like 3 or 4 months that it was like, yeah, these two more.
Yeah, well, it was, so I just started playing a few like solo weekenders and stuff, with like supporting bands and stuff, and I hit it off really well. You know, I got some good support slots with like Crywank and stuff like that, you know, like quite reputable stuff. And I thought, you know, this, and I was getting attention at these gigs, but I've always preferred being in a band. We were discussing how we'd answer this part, but Sam was immediately up for being in the band, but our bass player was playing in another band with Sam, for a guy called Steve Miller, who plays under the name Arms and Hearts. But you were like kind of a backing band for him, weren't you?
Yeah, he'd been a thing for a lot longer than we've been playing with him.
Yeah. And Harry was in like 4 bands at this point. So on the day Sam said yes, Harry said no. Then a couple of hours later, he messaged me on Facebook saying that band had disbanded and Steve was just going to carry on doing it himself. So he was like, I can do it now. So that's how it started, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So you released Wreck in November. How's the response been?
The response to Wreck was okay, yeah. I mean, we put a lot more into the single beforehand. That did really, really well. That song was called The Wild Turns, but we just kind of put Wreck out to fill a gap. We're going to put a lot more promotion into this album, really. The songs are a lot more well crafted, you know, more pop structure stuff kind of thing, but heavier and a darker content, really. That our record's going to be like a concept record. It's kind of about stuff that I've had to witness during lockdown, and about how mental health affects a family and stuff, you know. But this is going to be the best thing we've done, easily.
Very cool. So who'd you record it with, and how's the process?
We've, other than Wreck, actually, we've always recorded with the same guy, Sam Bloor. He's from Stoke-on-Trent, and he's just a wizard.
Insane.
The work process of this record, I'm trying to think. It didn't start as a record. We recorded a song with him a couple of years ago called Guilt. And I was a bit uncomfortable releasing it just because, you know, when you leave things behind and stuff, I just kind of thought this is too personal. And then what did we do?
We did Guilt, and then I think Clover came.
Oh, yeah. So basically for university, I had to write a 10-minute long song-ish. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and do that, like, be really obnoxious and try and do like a poor man's Jesus of Suburbia. And it turned out really well. Sam thinks it's the best song like we've ever written and recorded. So we had a couple of songs, and then it turned into like 3, like it was all cut in, you know, but we did like the last 5. We just booked the studio for a week and said, you know, I know 8 songs is kind of an EP and kind of an album, but you know, the 5, we just thought we'll put those 3 in it and call it an album. But it was really good, man. Those 5 days were really productive.
Unbelievably.
I went back actually because we want it to be like the best thing we've done. I went back and spent the day there myself, you know, talking with the producer and that about like, should that bit be longer and stuff, you know, just to make things a bit richer, just like days messing with sounds and stuff, where usually, because we're a 3-piece band, it's like go right in and try and fight with the producer for as long as possible about effects and stuff, because you know, I'm always like, in the past with EPs and stuff, we've come back and we've gone like, oh, we can only play 3 of these songs live with them sounding good, like, because I write everything on an acoustic guitar, because I'm kind of that belief that if a song isn't good with just a vocal and a guitar, then if you want to be in like a catchy band, it's not going to work. But this time we can do all of it really well.
Yeah, we had to be really strict about layering guitars that we couldn't replicate or using different synths. There's still loads of textures on it like we did on some previous records that we think work really well, but they also won't be missed when they're not played live as well.
Yeah, like it was a proper like battle of like excitement, kind of going, that's amazing, and then kind of go, oh yeah, we're not a shoegaze band. So, but we're ready for gigs now, the tightest we've ever been.
That's awesome.
Cheers, man.
So you're from Cheshire, England. How's the scene there? Do you have a favorite local band, a favorite venue?
Yeah, man. I mean, in the town we live in Cheshire, we live in a town called Northwich, and there's a really big indie scene here, but there's not a great deal of, you know, alternative punk music going on. So our local scene's kind of become Stoke-on-Trent, and we live like in the middle of nowhere. We don't live in that city, but they've embraced us kind of as a local band. In terms of it, there's so many good bands from there, man. I mean,
oh yeah, there's such a nice scene of music there. It's quite unbelievable, really, how tight knit it is as well.
Yeah, favorite band. I don't want to annoy anybody by like being favorited. I'd say the 2 that we are on board with the most. We used to play a lot of shows before lockdown with another 3-piece emo band called Clay Lake. They could be an international band.
They're unbelievable.
They're just like really mathy, and like I just watch them and think like, what? How are you doing that? Like, you know, like the drummer's like, it's one of those bands where the drummer's like the star of the show, yet the guitar player's like doing all this mental stuff, and like then we're playing with them, just kind of playing 3 chords, like. And then another band who I believe are going to be a big band, a band called Black Coast. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I've heard of Black Coast.
Well, they've like transitioned from like just like kind of being like a really metallic hardcore kind of metalcore band into like, they sound like a mix of Alice in Chains and Deftones now, like really different, and it's nice to see a band like be bold and, you know, instead of doing like what everybody else does, like, yeah, we've been embraced by their hardcore scene quite a lot, you know. So that Stoke is definitely our local scene, really, though we don't live there. there's great bands from our town. There's a band called Deja Vega that are like a post-punk band. They sound like Joy Division and Sonic Youth on speed. Like just really fast hypnotic stuff. If you've never heard them, check them out. And and there's a band called the Lucas Estate that are doing pretty well. Well, pretty well.
They're picking up a lot now.
They've just got like a major label signing, but they're like an indie band, you know, like kind of, well, not an indie band, like a rock and roll band, just something like it wouldn't look right for us to play with those bands, kind of thing. Like that, the promoters wouldn't put us on with them, though. At the same time, we admire what they do. But yeah.
Very cool. So now I'm going to ask you some non-music questions. It's a good way for me to get to know you. I did this with the other bands I interviewed. Are you ready?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
First one, favorite food.
Favorite food. Me and you will be very different. Sam's a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Me, curry. I don't know. What about you?
You see, it's barbecue weather right now, so that's jumped to the top. Like, I don't know, to be honest.
Corn sausages, to be fair, are better than sausages.
I don't know, you know. I'm gonna have to go with the roast potato. Just a roast potato.
I'm one of those guys that kind of, you know, like goes on about how if a curry's too hot, you can't taste it. But at the same time, I'm actually one of those guys that I'm actually everything I'm saying I'm not. So, you know, just I love really spicy food.
Keeping it simple.
Yeah.
You could be any superhero. What superhero?
I don't really watch superhero films, but I used to when I was younger.
This has stumped you.
This has stumped me, this one.
Yeah.
You maybe answer this one.
I don't know. I've not watched any of like the Marvel films or anything like that. It's kind of got me there.
It has got. I tell you what, actually, you know, on The Dark Knight when he comes out and was it the first one Christian Bale's in where he's got that ridiculous beard and people. I used to have a beard like that, and everyone used to say I look like that, so I'll go with that. Yeah, just on the basis that he looked homeless. That was a good film. That was a very good film. The Joker's an even better film, but like I don't want to be that. You know.
Yeah.
No, neither of us are big superhero people.
I can't name any, to be honest. I have to say Superman or something, just to do a bit of everything.
Fair enough.
What about you?
What's that?
What about you?
Oh man, that's tough. Let me go with the Flash.
What does he do? Or she?
He runs really fast.
Oh, I probably would have picked that if I knew that. All right, fair enough. Anyway,
never be late to a practice again.
Cool, really fast. So I'm gonna go with him.
Wicked.
Would you rather explore the ocean or space?
I'm going to go with space because you know that's infinite. Though obviously it's less realistic, but yeah, space.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Oh, Sam's obsessed with Tom DeLonge, so he is going to say. He is going to say.
You can look for aliens with him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be his dream.
I'm waiting for the phone call.
If you were stranded on a desert island, what 3 items would you want to have with you?
Three items. My phone. A guitar, like my acoustic. I assume food and water can't be included in this.
You can include it.
All right, like the world's biggest bottle of water.
See, it depends. It depends how realistic you want to be. Because if we're talking realistic, it's gonna have to be water, guitar, clothes, or something. Whereas you could just go with airport, private jet, and passport.
Yeah, fair enough. You're number one, but you know,
Yeah, definitely.
Best vacation you've been on?
oh, here's the cat. Probably I went to. I went away last year when there was like an eased lockdown with my girlfriend. I went to Menorca in Spain. That was just, the novelty of just going away because you actually can. We were just so lucky and we had a really good time. I ate too much food and drank far too much with it. But what about you?
See, my girlfriend's going to kill me for not saying the one I went on with her, especially now you said that. But me and a friend of mine got a really good deal on like a 4-day trip to New York. And it was just not what I was expecting it to be, like a load of sightseeing. And it just wasn't. It just turned out to be this insane kind of thing where you look back on it and go, did that really happen? So that's got to be there. It was a lot of fun.
Very cool. Last question. What are some places in Cheshire that visitors should check out?
Funny story. I'll signal.
Can you hear us, man?
Just cut out a
I can
second.
hear you.
You just
Did
cut
you
out.
get that?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
got
yeah.
that now. Yeah.
Last question. What are some places in Cheshire that visitors should check out?
It's not really anywhere. I mean, just Chester.
Yeah, Chester's cool.
Chester's like our only city.
I mean, if you're into music, there's a really cool venue in Northwich, where the little town we live in. It's basically all the town's got, in my opinion. There's a venue and pub called the Salty Dog. I've seen some pretty big bands come through there. The guy that runs it used to be in a pretty big punk band called The Business. So he like really cares about bands and stuff. One of the few places that actually pays you fairly, you know. So there, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Sounds good. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming on, chatting it up a little bit. I really appreciate you supporting me and all my promotion companies.
Well, thank you for talking to us, man. Thank you for giving us the chance to speak.
Anytime. We'll talk soon. Hope you guys have a great night.
You too.
You too, man.
Thank you. See ya.
See you later, man.
See ya.